They try to break you with silence, with games, with manipulation. But here's the truth. You don't destroy a snake by screaming. You destroy it by walking past it, like it was never venomous to begin with. So when they come at you with drama, hate, betrayal, don't react. Cut them with the one move they never saw coming. Your elevation, your silence, your success. And baby, when you glow without them, that cut, it's permanent. You will glow without them, that cut, it's permanent. They say silence is golden. But darling, let me tell you, silence is also power. A roar can shake a room, yes, but silence can collapse a kingdom. When someone disrespects you, manipulates you, or betrays you, the world tells you to fight back. Yell, cry, break things, prove your worth. But here's the truth. Reacting is what they expect. Silence, it's what confuses them, breaks their ego, destroys their illusion of control. Because when you don't react, you take away their power over you. Think about it. In your daily life, how often do people try to get under your skin just to get a reaction? The colleague who tries to outshine you in front of the boss, that so-called friend who throws shade disguised as jokes, or that ex who posts just the right picture hoping you'll spiral. They're not looking for your peace. They're hunting for your energy. But what happens when you give them nothing? When your silence says, you're not even worth my voice. Let's get real. A woman who reacts is expected. A woman who smiles and stays still, not because she's weak, but because she's calculating, that is dangerous. That's the kind of woman people write stories about. Because silence, when it comes from a position of silence, it's what confuses them, breaks their ego, destroys their illusion of control. Because when you don't react, you take away their power over you. Think about it. In your daily life, how often do people try to get under your skin just to get a reaction? The colleague who tries to outshine you in front of the boss, that so-called friend who throws shade disguised as jokes, or that ex who posts just the right picture, hoping you'll spiral. They're not looking for your peace, they're hunting for your energy. But what happens when you give them nothing? When your silence says, you're not even worth my voice. Let's get real. A woman who reacts is expected. A woman who smiles and stays still, not because she's weak, but because she's calculating, that is dangerous. That's the kind of woman people write stories about. Because silence, when it comes from a position of strength, is terrifying. It's not submission. It's supremacy. It's the refusal to let the chaos outside disturb the empire you've built within. Let's take a simple example. You're walking into a room and someone you know has been gossiping about you. You know it, they know it. The old you would have confronted them, argued, maybe cried about it later. But the woman you are becoming, she walks in, greets the room, and ignores them entirely. That quiet confidence, it shakes them more than your words ever could. Because your silence now carries weight. It says, I see you, I just don't care enough to engage. Another moment, imagine your partner starts pulling away, testing you, playing with your emotions, waiting for you to chase. But you don't. You don't beg. You don't cry. You simply say less and show less. And suddenly, they're the one panicking. Because silence in that moment screams, I don't need you to validate my worth. And believe me, nothing terrifies someone more than the realization that you can let them go without looking back. Even at work, you didn't get that promotion you worked hard for. You know favoritism was involved. Everyone's expecting you to complain, throw a fit, but instead, you show up the next day, dressed like a CEO, performing like a queen. You know why you are at that desk? Because you passed your test. Didn't you, Madan? Didn't you come in here with a problem? You passed your test? You passed your test? Didn't you come in here with a problem? Not one word spoken. But the silence is a thunderstorm. And within weeks, your quiet persistence forces everyone to respect you. Because consistency in silence is louder than temporary noise. When you're silent, you listen better. You observe. You reclaim your focus. You become unshakable. Let them wonder what you're thinking. Let them create their own chaos trying to decode you. While they're losing sleep, you're building your future. Because in a world obsessed with attention, silence is your rebellion. In a world full of noise, silence becomes your identity. A signature only the strong can wear. And that's where the shift happens. When you stop reacting to every little thing, you stop bleeding energy. You stop shrinking yourself to explain your worth to people who don't even understand value. Your silence becomes your armor, your boundary, your weapon. It speaks with grace and strikes with elegance. You don't always need to explain yourself. You don't need to prove your side. Not everyone deserves access to your truth. Some people only understand your value when they no longer hear your voice. And that moment, when they realize you're done, when your silence becomes louder than all their noise, that's the most deafening sound they'll ever hear. There's a kind of power that doesn't need a microphone. It doesn't need a stage, or a spotlight, or an audience clapping. It just needs your focus, your grind, your obsession with becoming everything they said you couldn't be. That power is in leveling up quietly. Because real elevation doesn't come with announcements, it comes with discipline. While they're watching your Instagram stories, you're rewriting your story. While they're gossiping about who you used to be, you're building a life that will make them speechless. Let me tell you something fierce. Success that whispers in the beginning screams at the end. You don't have to post every step. You don't have to prove every move. Let them think you're stuck. Let them believe you fell off. That's when you're the most dangerous. When no one sees you coming, you become a storm, brewing in silence. And when you show up, you don't ask for attention. You own it. Picture this. You're studying late at night while your friends are out partying. You don't complain. You don't announce it on social media. You just show up again and again, choosing books over bars. Then, one day, you walk across that graduation stage with top honors. That silence you carried while working, that becomes your loudest applause. No drama, just results. That's the difference between noise and legacy. Or think about the woman who just got out of a toxic relationship. Everyone's watching to see her fall apart. She doesn't say much. She doesn't go online and spill it all. No cryptic quotes, no emotional breakdowns for likes. She heals quietly, works on her body, her mind, her spirit, starts a business, elevates her vibe. Months later, she walks in, elevated, unbothered. Now they're not whispering about her pain, they're whispering about her power. Here's the truth. The loudest person in the room is usually the weakest. The real queens move differently. While others shout their goals, you execute yours. While others beg for validation, you validate yourself by showing up, grinding, and growing. No one needs to see the hustle. They just need to respect the outcome. Even in your career, maybe you're being overlooked. Others are getting the praise, the promotions, the perks. But instead of complaining, you work harder, you learn more, you sharpen your skills in silence. Then one day you launch your own thing. Bigger, bolder. And the same people who ignored you now can't stop watching. That's what happens when you let your glow speak louder than your ego. And there's beauty in that silence too. Because when no one knows what you're working on, they can't sabotage it. They can't interfere with energy they can't detect. Protecting your vision is not secrecy, it's strategy. You don't owe updates to people who don't clap for you in private. Let them wonder. Let them doubt. Their confusion is your confirmation that you're leveling up correctly. It's not about being mysterious. It's about being mature. It's about shifting your energy inward. Because when your peace becomes your priority, you stop entertaining everything that's loud and pointless. You don't need to post every gym session, every salary raise, every detail of your glow up. You just show up one day with a life that feels good on the inside and looks untouchable on the outside. Let them think you're quiet. Let them think you're average. That's how you trap them in their own ignorance. Because when success finally speaks, it doesn't whisper, it roars. And by then, your silence would have already done the loudest talking. Unfollow isn't just a button on your phone, it's a decision, a declaration, a sacred act of self-respect. We talk so much about detoxing our social media, but what about detoxing our real life? What about the people who drain your energy without saying a word? The ones who smile in your face but secretly hope you never outgrow the version of you that needed them. It's time to unfollow in real life. And I'm not talking about hate or bitterness. I'm talking about boundaries so bold they echo. I choose peace over pleasing. Look around. How many people do you keep close simply because of history? Not harmony. Because it's familiar, not fulfilling. Some friendships have expired, but you're still holding on to them like they're a trophy. Some relationships are dead, but you're still watering them out of guilt. You wouldn't keep spoiled milk in your fridge just because you bought it last week. So why keep spoiled energy in your life just because they've been around? Let's say you have that one friend, always negative, always comparing. Every time something good happens to you, they downplay it or disappear. You laugh it off, you say that's just how they are. No, that's how they choose to be. And you, my dear, are allowed to unfollow. In silence, with no announcement, no confrontation, just distance. Because when someone makes your soul shrink, that's your cue to unfollow, energetically. Or maybe it's that family member who constantly questions your choices. When will you get married? Why did you choose that career? Are you sure this is what you want to do with your life? You respect them, but every conversation feels like a trial. You walk away feeling drained, second-guessing everything. You don't need to block them. Just mute their influence. Just stop giving them access to the parts of you they only criticize. And what about relationships? That partner who doesn't value you unless you pull away, who shows love only when they fear losing you. You keep going back thinking maybe this time it'll be different. You unfollow them on Instagram. Great. But have you unfollowed them in your habits? In your heart? Have you stopped checking their page but still check your worth through their eyes? That's not healing. That's pretending. Real unfollowing is when you no longer allow someone's presence or absence to define your peace. Even at work, there's that toxic colleague, always competing, always gossiping, always projecting their insecurities onto you. You can't block them in real life. But you can unfollow their energy. Don't engage. Don't compete. Don't let their chaos become your soundtrack. Just keep showing up, doing your thing, and choosing professionalism over pettiness. That's silent maturity. That's your real clapback. You don't need to make a public statement when you choose to protect your peace. You don't owe explanations. The quiet decision to walk away from energy that doesn't grow you is the loudest self-love move you'll ever make. Some people are lessons, not lifelines. You're allowed to outgrow people without hating them. You're allowed to love someone and still choose yourself. Energy is currency, and you're done being bankrupt from giving to people who only take. You're done explaining your worth to people who've decided to misunderstand you. The window of power of unfollowing in real life is knowing that not everyone gets a front row seat to your evolution. Not everyone deserves to witness your rise. Some people only belong in your past, not your future, not even as background noise. And here's the most liberating truth. Your peace does not require their permission. You don't have to feel bad for letting go. You just have to feel free. Because once you unfollow what drains you, you finally make space for what builds you. You finally make space for what builds you. You finally make space for what builds you. You don't have to feel bad for letting go. You just have to feel free. Because once you unfollow what drains you, you finally make space for what builds you. And this is and that's when your real life starts to breathe. Your energy is your real currency. Not your money, not your looks, not your connections. It's your energy that enters the room before you do. And if you're constantly feeling tired, drained, uninspired, it's not always because you're doing too much. It's because you're you're exhausted, guilty, mad or wired. It's not always because you're doing too much.